Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P Funk. Thinking right out here in the wee hours in the morning while I do what I do for you. I got two lessons for you today. It's a 1-2 part, short, not that long. You won't keep you that long, but good information. Something you can, again, use to know thyself. Let's go. Writers in 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message and story for life. I give you life lessons. You tune to receive them. I'm hoping they're working out for you. They must be doing something because you keep coming back, and I'm gonna keep on giving it to you. Let's go. Right Thinker's mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right Thinker's way of life through mental and spiritual discipline daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka to know thyself. That's my mission. I'm on my job. Your job, if you're on your job like I'm on mine, we got a good thing going. Why? Because I'm on mine. Let's go. I do what I do for you to know thyself. That's the question. Do you know you? Rhetorical, but you should. If not, I can help you with that. That's what I do. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. You teach them. That's why I'm on my job doing what I do for you. I appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got you. A person who knows not and believes that they know, dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows but knows not that they know is asleep spiritually. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up. Let's go. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons, they reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself. And to my yacht, be true. Oh, this book. I'm back to my girl. Mysteries of Isis. This title is called The Goal of Spiritual Enlightenment, based on true stories of Ra Aset, may be summarized as the following. These are things that you can do to become spiritual enlightenment. They call you an aspirant. I call you right thinkers, but you are aspirants because you're aspiring to do better. Pay attention. First of all, you have to understand worldly knowledge is the lowest level of knowledge. Lowest. Calm down. Break it down for you. A spiritual aspirant, aka right thinker, you need to become self-sufficient and capable of controlling your what practical life every day. You need to have a foundation, a routine set so that you can compartmentalize your life on a day-to-day basis. Some of us just live haphazardly, willy-nilly, just do whatever comes natural with it, and that's chaos. Chaos never works out. So understand, get order. And this means, watch this, that a person should what? Seek to learn the practical knowledge. What's practical knowledge? There you go. Self-knowledge. Something that will serve you, aka self, which will help you to what? Survive where? In the practical world. It's like the animals' instinct. If they don't use their instinct and hone them, they won't survive. They'll die. So as humans, we need to understand how to survive in the practical world. Gain knowledge of self, to know thyself. And having done this, you, the aspirant, need to always remember that worldly knowledge is lower knowledge. It's used to what? Sustain the practical reality, meaning everything's pretty much normal. Higher knowledge, self knowledge, will raise you above normally. Okay, moving on. Next thing we call you are aspirants. It's called aspiration. Aspiration is what? The awakening of the spiritual self. You want to know who you are inside. It's a question that you ask yourself and you aspire to get the answer. That is what? Becoming conscious of what? Your divine presence within oneself, aka your higher self, and the universe by what? Having faith that there is a spiritual essence where? Beyond human understanding. God, a higher conscious, a higher level of being, whatever. But you have to understand that. If not, you just here like everything else, just going through the motions. If you ain't aspiring to be your best self, you're just going through the motions. Aspiration, okay, again, also means what? Seeking after the spiritual truth. That's what I did 30 years ago. 30 years ago, I was an aspirant. Now I'm a master. I found some things, spiritual truths. I manifest them. I mastered them. Now I can teach them to you. That's all I do, and that's what I do for you. Give you spiritual truth that I know. That's it. That's all I'm gonna do. That's what I got for you. So let me finish this up right quick. It's gonna be a short lesson. I know them 40, 50-minute lessons ain't too cool, but I'm gonna break it down for you nice and quick and simple. Make it easy so you can get the message and go on about your business. Don't take up so much of your time, but put more time in after you get the message to ponder, think, reflect, and meditate on it, and then you can implement it. That's how it's done. Aspirations also means seeking after spiritual truth. How? Through the various disciplines we known as right thinking philosophy, aka yoga. Okay. Next thing you do is what's important. Studying. I'm an avid, so I beat this book up. It's falling apart, but I got a whole lot of information there. I got another one. When you use something, it tends to wear out. So use this. It won't, your brain won't wear out. Your spiritual conscious won't wear out, trust me. So studying, it's okay to study, but you have to apply the wisdom teachings that you learn. Why learn something and you don't use it? That's why I do what I do every day. Why? I got a whole bunch of information. I'm just giving it out every day. Okay, simple as that. I'm the monopoly man of knowledge. You take some, you get some. Everybody can get it. Okay, so studying and then applying your wisdom teachings, and that's spiritual enlightenment at its best. Watch this: studying and then applying the wisdom teachings implies what? Practicing. Here we go. Practicing the teachings when in day to day life. I keep telling you, this is a daily thing. It's a way of life. And once you start practicing it, once you get good at it, it will be your way of life and you will be the beneficiary of that. Anything that you do for self, you are the beneficiary. Okay? Watch this. Studying and applying the wisdom teachings, it implies practicing what those teachings when day to day. It means seeing what beyond the opposites and understanding the duality and the essence of creation. Everything is made pairs. That's why I give you Maya. She represents balance. You can't have balance with one thing. Inquiring into who am I? That should be our number one question. And some of us it is. And you should get an answer. You have all the access to find out who you are, why you the way you are. If you study and put the work in, the answer is for you. There is no more, watch this, a powerful question which a spiritual aspirant, right thinker, can ask other than what? Who am I? Why? I want to know thyself. That's the goal. Everything in life, what depends on one's ego. But if you ask the question, watch this, who am I? Your ego becomes it becomes clearer and clearer that what? The ego is not the real you. Your ego is what you identify with yourself. So understand that's going to be there, but that's not the end all be all. The ego is not the real you. So, and everything, watch this, everything that the ego wants is what? Illusionary or desirable. It just wants to be happy. It wants to be fulfilled. And you know, the ego, being greedy, will never be happy, will never be filled. So it's going to constantly want more and more and more. So you have to put the ego in check. This spiritual discipline of putting the ego in check or practice allows what? A spiritual aspirant, right thinker, to what? Gradually free him or herself from what? The snare of the ego, aka ignorant of self. The ego is ignorant. Educated, enlightenment. That's what it needs. What? Other than that, you're going to have problems. When you find out about yourself and get control of the ego, that's when you start self-mastery. If your ego is still in control, you haven't mastered yourself. Single-minded determination. What? Master the ego. Control the ego, aka to know your higher truth. You should want to know who you are. A spiritual aspirant, right thinker, cannot, watch this, be satisfied with intellectual understanding of who I am. Now, I don't want to run the mill. Well, you're this. No, I want to know who I am spiritually, who the essence of me. That's the real deal. That's the inner question. That's the innermost understanding. Watch this. And when you ask the question, who am I, or nature of the nature of God? You want to know God. You know you know God. You know God, you know you. They go synonymous. This must be what? An overwhelming and one-pointed movement toward what? Your ultimate goal in life, to experience the divine, to know God for yourself. That's the goal of all right thinkers. That's my purpose, to get all right thinkers to know God for themselves. I don't want to tell you about God. I want you to know God for yourself. That's why I teach right thinking philosophy, so it can give you understanding and the knowledge, and then you put it to work by what? Implement it, and you'll find what you're looking for. Okay. Next one is communing with the divine. That's the meditative state that I go in every day. I've learned that years ago. That's the beautiful thing. When you can go inside yourself and access your higher self, you have reached another stage of life that you become what? In control of you. You starting to know you. Get that conversation going. Get that ongoing dialogue. Make that relationship between you and God personal. But bring it to life. Make it exist in you. I got mine. And I'm sure all those who blessed out, everybody who know themselves, got the same thing. Knowledge of self. I'm trying to get you that. Let me wrap this up. This lesson. First lesson about to end up right now. Communing with the divine. How is that? Aset, which represents wisdom, was able to commune with Ra. This is how she would obtain his real name. So to a spiritual aspirant, right thinkers, you must seek to what? Commune with the divine self, your higher self, for what? In order to attain enlightenment. Spiritually. Next level is spiritual. The physical is here. We got to raise, because why? This is the lowest level. You can't stay here. It's like caterpillar. If you don't know yourself, a caterpillar is like an ignorant human being. If he keep going on inching through life, doing nothing, just not caring, not making decision to what? Change, he won't. He'll die caterpillar. A lot of us die ignorant. Same thing. But it's a whole bunch of butterflies. So it's a whole bunch of enlightened people also. Let's go. Break this down. So to a spiritual aspect, you must seek to commune with the divine self in order to what? Obtain spiritual enlightenment. Studying, learning, putting it to use, those things give you the result. This is accomplished, there you go, by what? Practicing all the disciplines daily, outlined here, and through these, leading oneself into what? A a transcendental state of consciousness, aka transformation of self, which allows one to what? Go beyond the ego and converse intimately with God. And I just told you. And I love it, because this is what I teach, and I get it from here. So when I go back to this is right where I get it from. This is my wheelhouse. I'm teaching my concepts. And this is what the ultimate goal, which leads a person to become one with God, aka knowing thyself. That's that lesson. The next lesson we're going to is called the mystical symbolism of the story of Asar, Aset, and Haru. This is the life of us, broke down philosophically, broken down every minute aspect of your life. They go through it. Okay, Asar is you. Haru is you 2.0. Asar's son, who we all are in the flesh, become him. Okay, let's go. The mystical symbolism of the story of Asar, Aset, and Haru. That's the Anuian theory. Asar, watch this. Listen, this is the lesson. Pay attention. Asar represents the human soul. I told you all the elements. The first 5 is elements. The 6 is the spirit. That's where we come in. We start from 6 to 10 in human flesh people from Asar, Aset, Nephthys, Set, and Haru, the 5 humans. That's the 5 economical days that gave us our holidays. We had 360. Thought gave us 5 extra days because he won some time from Kansu, the moon god, gambling. Okay, even the gods gamble. Okay, so those are just concepts. Again, life, physical life that we can emulate, that they're showing you this is what you can do to be there. That's what I'm trying to get across to you. So let's go. They tell you the story for a reason. There's a message in the story. For life, Asar represents the spirit as carnated on earth in human form. So Christians, Christ is not the only one. Thus, he represents what? The innermost reality of all human beings. The soul falls in love with life. The story goes, Asar, which is the soul, falls in love with Nephet, which is nature, which is life. He falls in love with her, have sex, has a baby. Their offspring becomes Ampu, Anubis, the discernment. You put spirit, nature together, you should have discernment. When you put spirit and wisdom together, or immortality, you get Haru, which is us. So the physical human existence, which is symbolized by who? That again. The soul forgets, which is Asar, its true nature, and so what becomes overpowered by what? His lower nature, the ego self. Okay, he got caught up. Man, if that little fella, that girl walked by, you know, that idea, that's set. He's starting to set in. You don't want that. Because the ego, if it look good, smell good, sound good, feels good, you going all in. Why? Because that's all you got to go with. If you were to think, you took all that to the side and you'll know better. That's what becoming, raising your higher consciousness of your ego self, raise it higher, it'll get better. That's what we want you to do. Now, ego is who? Asar's brother, Set. Okay? It symbolizes egoism. And watch this. And all of the negative qualities which a human being can develop. You're not born with them, you develop them, you learn them. Remember, the first 7 years, we're just observing our surroundings. So if you're in a dysfunctional environment, oh, you're going to learn dysfunctional stuff. It's just that simple. So watch this. So when they are ignorant of their higher self, most of us are. So the ego set what? Hacks to pieces the soul. He cuts his brother up into 14 pieces. That's the idea of hacking the soul up, because they know if the soul wasn't complete, it can't go on to the afterlife. So he was doing his job by not making Asar make it to the afterlife. That was his job, to stop him. And attempt to any chance for what? Reincarnation, in order to seek redemption and enlightenment. Now that represents what? Physical pleasure. That body, there you go. Set is also the treachery of the world. Again, y'all call him Satan, the devil. It's the ego. Why? It ain't going nowhere. You can call it what you want, but that's what it is. So understand that. Watch this. The treachery of the world. That wish seems to what? Be a promise of pleasure, and we all want that, is in reality the snare which enslaves the soul to the myriad forms of what? Misery of human existence. He lost himself in the world. When Ra sent his daughter, Sekhmet, she did the same thing. It's a cycle. It's a cycle. You don't want to be part of the cycle. Get out the rich cycle. Why? Thus, Haru now represents spiritual aspiration, the desire to what? Study and practice the teachings. See? The higher self wants more. It's aspiring to raise itself. Set is the what? The distraction and the pressure of life to what? Indulge in the pleasures and the senses of the body, the 5 senses. You see it, you smell good perfume, the fragrance. Then you hear some good words. Yeah, it sounds good. And then you touch it. Oh, yeah. And then the ultimate, the taste test. When that tongue when that go into another person's mouth, you exchanging saliva and everything else that go along with it. Just let you know. Okay, that's the senses. That's the physical body. And Set loves to have physical contact, male or female. So homosexual activity didn't just start. Set didn't care about who he had sex with. He tried to have sex with Haru. Okay? Another story, another lesson. Good lesson. Life between Asar and Set and Haru. Oh, it covers everything that we encompass in life pretty much. Let me wrap this up. I see the time going. I'm trying not to look at it, but okay, I'm almost done. Aset is the wisdom. She represents wisdom and immortality, which allows a person to what? Put together the understanding of what? Their higher reality, which is the spirit self. The spirit. She is also the what? Acknowledge the knowledge of how to what? Call the divine in order to discover one's spiritual essence. She had direct line to God. She didn't call Jesus. Jesus, go to your father. Right to the Father. Direct line. You are responsible for your own salvation. There's no need for a middleman. A guru, a sage, a teacher, yeah, practitioner to help you, but he's not between you and God. He's helping you get to God. That's what I do for you. So watch this. She, together with what? Your inner spirit, Haru, is symbolized by what? The spirit of Asar are always the power within what? The heart, which gives a person encouragement and strength to what? Face life's adversities of the world, and then to call out to what? The divine in order to attain, again, enlightenment. You got to go to God. I hear Christians saying, yeah, I say it, but you don't really understand it. I'm going to try to give you meaning to what you say so then you can implement it. If you don't understand the verses in the Bible, what they're saying, the parable that they say, oh, he's spoken parable. No, you just don't understand what he's saying. So please understand. I don't want you to be confused. I'm not trying to confuse. I'm trying to enlighten you. I'm trying to simplify it so you can understand it. Real simple. It ain't that hard. It ain't brain surgery. So when a desire to learn, which is right thinkers, aspirates, emerges, is it is what? The spirit of Asar, which is urging you, the aspirant, what? Onward, upward, that way. Come, come. Then that movement towards spiritual and mature spirituality is nurtured by the goddess as the what? Mother who brings forth what? New life and nurses to health and growth by what? Protecting it from the elements and from all negative influence for until what? It is strong enough to stand on its own. And that what mothering is? Every animal knows that instinctively. They don't give a book on parenting, do they? My man said, we have, the human species, had the most complicated machinery known to man in his head, and we don't get instructions. So it's up to you to figure it out. And some of us have done that, so that's why we teach others how to do it. That's what we got teachers and sages for. Moving on. Okay. When she does that, okay, Ampu represents what? Anubis, y'all know him as. The development of what? Intellectual discrimination, the ability to understand what? Truth from untruth. If you're a liar, I know. I got my own detector. I got discernment. Okay, I know what is and what's not. I know what's good and what's not. So when you're trying to fast talk or do that little run your con game, I ain't the one. And everybody who have knowledge of themselves is not the one. Wow, my grandmother told me, baby, I got a sixth grade education, but you can't fool me. That means she know life. Other stuff don't mean that you keep your education. We grew up with parents, my great grandparents. School wasn't important. Surviving was. Father had to go to work at 15 years old. What 15-year-old kid got to go to work? But during them times, that's how it was. So you became a man early. Why? Because you became responsible to doing things you needed to do to survive. So we getting away from that. Kids get lazy, no chores. We raise kids with chores for a reason, to get them used to doing something. At home is for your living quarters. Out in the world is to earn a paycheck, to have a living quarters, other qualities and things of life that you want. So you have to learn how to put forth the effort to make that happen. Everybody just gonna give you the world. It's your parent. Mommy, can I have? Daddy, can I have? The world ain't gonna acquiesce to what you want. You have to go get it. So understand that. And being discernible, Anubis, he knows truth from untruth, reality from unreality. And then you got Subak. He's the crocodile god. I don't really know much about him. I'll present him to you some other time. But Subak represents what? The power. He's a crocodile. The power of what? Your lower nature, the physical body, when it is supplemented and placed in what? The service of the higher self. You want set to serve you. You want your lower nature to be in service position, not the leader position. Set's a good worker. He's a terrible leader. Understand that. So moving on. I'm almost done. Stay with me. I'm getting there. Then my pastor would say, pray for me. All right. How is it possible? This question. You have just read a brief introduction of the myth about ourselves. I just broke it down for you best I could, right? Quick synopsis. Now we must find out what it means what to study her teachings. What do it mean? What it means is to become her disciple. Right, thinkers, y'all are my disciples. Why? I want you to be your best self. I'm gonna give you the things you need to make that happen. That's why I'm here every morning doing what I do for you. And this is what the path of Sama or yoga. Okay. Then we will understand her teachings and how to what realize it to make what an effective way in our life. You practice it to live it. You practice it to employ it, to use it so you can get the benefits from it. Last one, last paragraph. I'm about to take it home. Let's go. The importance of the goddess, in Asarian resurrection is what paramount. Remember, the resurrection works why? Because of her and her special knowledge, which she learned from who? Ra. She is the teacher of Heru. I'm your Aset. Why? I'm your teacher. You're Haru. I'm the teacher. Understand that. And she's the one that teaches Haru, who urges him to what? Fight for what? Truth and righteousness. Superman, yeah, that's where concept comes from. The Son of God is always going to fight for truth and righteousness. In the same manner, she is what? The author of the resurrection of every spiritual aspirant who seeks her favor in the form of what? Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Her divine grace is secured by those who revere her saga and extol her glories, seek her company, follow her precepts, concepts, and more important, meditate on her teachings. That's what it's all about. That's why we study. That's why we implement it. That's why we live right. That's why I do what I do for you. That's the end of the lesson. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back.